Israel's finance minister last night announced a historic economic rescue package worth 80 billion shekels. That's more than 22 billion US dollars. The largest stimulus emergency law in Israeli history, and it will soon be implemented to businesses and families around the country. With me now is economics professor Avi Weiss to break it down. Sir, thank you for being with me. This emergency bill, will it actually help, do you think, struggling businesses? Will it help struggling families who are out of work now, stuck at home?
I don't think there's any question that it will help. The question is, will it help enough to a large extent? If you take a look at the amount that's being allocated, which is a lot, I mean, it is certainly unprecedented, but it's unprecedented worldwide. In other words, this has happened in most developed countries. And if you take a look at the percentage that's been allocated out of the GDP, out of the production of the country, it's actually significantly lower than you see in many other countries. So yes, there is no doubt that it will help. There's also a lot that we don't know yet about how it's all going to work. One of the things that really needs to be done is to make sure that you get the bureaucracy down, make sure that things are easily accessible. And there are a lot of steps that could be taken to make things much better for businesses and for the future of the Israeli economy.
Professor, I ask this question cautiously because I'm not an expert in economic matters, but I know that there are limitations with Israel that don't exist in the United States, let's say. The U.S. doesn't have the kind of deficit caps and limitations on deficit spending that exist in Israel. Does that make it more difficult for Israel to get these kinds of stimulus laws into action?
Well, it does mean that you have to make decisions, but I think the government, or the soon-to-be-formed government, is in a position to make those decisions really quickly. So I don't think that's going to be something that's going to stop them from making those allocations. That's going to happen. We know that the deficit is going to go up a lot. We know that the relationship between the external debt of Israel and its GDP is going to go up a lot. But that's what's necessary in this type of situation. There really is very little choice but to do that.
Professor, at this point, the new numbers released today show that the unemployment rate has gone up again. It's now over 23%. We're still in the month of March. When this month began, it was at just about 4%. Now it's at 23%. This month alone, we're talking about over 1 million Israelis. I mean, does this aid package, will it help put people back to work? Is this a Band-Aid? And how long would it take, do you think, the economy to really get going? I mean, the finance minister said he's hopeful after Pesach, in a week or so, it'll start to gear up. But how long will it take those gears to go?
Well, one of the things you have to understand is that while it's true that we've gone up to close to 25% unemployment, that's partially just a bit fictionist. It's not really exact because of the fact that a lot of people are on leave without pay. So what that means is that right now they're listed as unemployed, but it's about 90% of the additional people actually have a place of employment. They actually have a place that they can go back to. Mm-hmm. So even though they're getting the unemployment benefit now, they have to list themselves as unemployed in order to get the benefit now. That doesn't mean that they're going to stay unemployed for a very long time. That doesn't mean there isn't going to be harm. There is. The unemployment rate after this is all over will be much higher than the 4% that it is now. We don't know how much, but it will be higher. But most of that 25% is going to go back to work. At least that's the hope. Now, it all depends on how long this takes. By the way, I'll just mention that there was another way to do this that has been done in some places, is that instead of going on unpaid leave, you go on leave, but it's a paid leave. You remain an employee of the company, and the company pays your salary, and the government basically gives most of that money to the company in order to pay those salaries. And in those cases, you don't have to go to unemployment service at all in order to get your income. So that might be a better way of going about doing this. Of course, it requires that the transfer be made directly to the companies, which is something that wasn't chosen to be done here.
Yeah, Israel.
But I think it's a question.
Finish your thought. Go ahead, Professor.
No, I think that the biggest unknown is how long this is going to take.
Yeah.
We don't know when we're going to be getting back to work. After Pesach is a great idea, and we all hope that's what happens. But we don't know that that's what's going to happen. We don't know that there's not going to be another outbreak. We don't know that right now the past few days have actually shown a fairly good pattern with respect to the number of ill. compared to what was happening previously, and that's a good sign that maybe it is slowing down very significantly. If that happens, then we could maybe be back at work not that long after Passover, but we don't know that that's the case yet.
Yeah,
and until we know that, we're not going to know how big the hit is going to be.
Still a lot of unknowns. Thank you so much, Professor Avi Weiss, for giving us your analysis here on the situation. Well,